Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time I know you guys are going to enjoy that was sent in to me about possibly the worst teammate I've ever heard of. This took place in this dude's recreational college basketball league, which, you know, is supposed to be pretty chill, but he had the most over-the-top, try-hard teammate who just sucked to play with, and on top of that, just sucked at the game, and it was pretty entertaining, so I figured I would share it with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so basically the college that this subscriber went to had its own like recreational sports league for the students, and you know, whenever it comes to recreational sports in general, they're supposed to be more chill than like angry, rah, we have to win. It was supposed to be more fun for the students, and obviously it was still a sport, so you wanted to score, you wanted to win the game, but you know, it was more about making friends. There was no reason to go a million miles an hour in a league that you're not getting paid to play in. There's nothing you get if you win. It's a basketball league where, like, if you're going over the top fouling everyone, people are probably going to have an issue with it because it's just not that serious. I'm not saying nobody would try to win, but, you know, it's just not the type of game where you're just going to try to hurt the best player on the other team. And on top of that, just to make sure that, like, there was no groups of people that knew each other and took it too seriously when you signed up for this particular basketball league, the teams were randomly assigned. So you couldn't have, like, a group of 6 dudes that decided to just come in and sweat and destroy everybody. It was just randomly assigned for people that wanted to play basketball. So whatever, the teams get randomly assigned and have to pick when they're going to practice, when they're going to have a meeting, all that stuff. And this subscribers team decides that they're going to have the first meeting in the quad and just kind of decide when they're going to practice and talk about stuff. So obviously, since they're meeting in the quad where there's no basketball hoops and everybody had kind of agreed it was just a meeting to decide on what was going on, nobody showed up dressed for basketball. But one guy shows up with the full fit on from head to toe. You know, he's got the headband on, the wristbands. He's really looking like Will Ferrell from that one basketball movie, you know what I'm talking about? And he starts to berate them when he shows up for like not being ready to play, and how if they're meeting for basketball, they should always be ready to play at any given time. And everybody's kind of like confused a little bit because, you know, they had agreed that this was just the first meeting, and on top of that, like, why would someone just randomly challenge them to a basketball game in the middle of a quad where there's no basketball hoops? And the guy who's all dressed up says that, like, you never know when it could happen, so you just always got to stay prepared. And like I said, it was kind of weird, but maybe the guy just really loves basketball or something. Maybe he was kidding, who knows? So nobody really said anything about it because they weren't gonna like crap on his passion. Anyways, the rest of the team kind of starts their meeting and they decide that they wanted to practice once a week. You know, everybody is in college, so they have classes to do, they have like stuff to get done. They don't have the ability to be spending a bunch of time practicing and worrying about this recreational basketball league that, once again, means nothing. But Full Fit, who I'm gonna call Benjamin from now on, is not very happy with only one practice a week. Ben just starts saying that if they're not gonna practice at least 3 times a week, it's like going to ruin their chances of winning the league, and they need to take this seriously. And you gotta keep in mind that if they were to do 3 practices a week plus the game, that's 4 nights a week of basketball. And obviously, for what the league is, that just doesn't make sense. Their grades are gonna start to slip, you know, they just have other stuff they do, a lot of them work. There's no way they're gonna be able to practice 3 nights a week. So they tell him it's just way too much time for the league, and they're more playing to just have fun and make friends. And obviously they want to win, but they're not willing to like throw away their job or their GPA for this like basketball league. And Ben starts to rant about how, you know, the current thinking that they had wasn't the winning mindset, and how he had been watching all these podcasts recently about how you have to get into the winning mindset if you're gonna dominate a sports league. So they needed to get out of that and realize that like jobs don't really matter in the grand scheme of things if they get the glory of sports. Which, bro, I don't know what podcast you're listening to, but I don't think they're living in the real world, bro. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't have passions that are more important than your job, but the idea that your job should matter less than the recreational sports league, that's a little bit silly. I feel like that podcast is very bad advice. But the entire group is like, well, we're really okay with losing. We don't care that much. It's fine. If we lose, it's our fault, and like we can sleep with that at night. And Ben's like, you guys are going to be able to sleep with yourselves at night if you're the reason that we lose all of our games. And they're like, yeah. And he doesn't really get it, but reluctantly is like, fine. And nobody was really being too mean to Ben, even during this argument, because they were like, whatever, he just really likes basketball. He's being a little over the top, but who really cares? And they all agreed on one practice a week, you know? So on Wednesdays, they were going to practice. Fridays usually were the day when the game was. So all in all, it wasn't going to be that bad. And it was a Monday when they're having the meeting, so the first practice would be in like 2 days. And reluctantly, Ben agrees to it and says it's fine. Like, you know, he's pretty pissed off about it, like I said. Whatever, we're going to lose, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to be your guys' fault, but they don't care. And honestly, after that, they kind of forgot about it because it's not their number one priority. This league isn't something that they're thinking about all the time. They're not dreaming about winning MVP, you know, it is what it is. So Wednesday comes up and everybody ends up going to the gym and they see the team and they're kind of just like talking, getting to know each other a little bit, talking about the experience that they have. And once everybody gets there, Ben tries to like start the practice and take over, which maybe this dude secretly is like a basketball coach or something, who knows? But he tries to take over the practice right away, and he starts demanding that everybody needs to get like their conditioning right, and they're going to start with 25 sprints. And the rest of everyone looks at each other and is like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that, man. We're not doing 25 sprints. They say they were willing to do like a couple of sprints just to see how fast everyone was, but they weren't going to spend the entire practice sprinting because it wasn't that deep. You know, once again, like, I'm not trying to say it too much. It is a rec league. Everybody kind of knows what's up. They don't really want to have to be doing sprints, and plus, it's a waste of time. If this is your only practice before your first game, spending all of it sprinting isn't going to get you guys, like, a win at all. If Mr. Ben is a basketball expert, you know? And on top of that, bro, like, I'm not doing conditioning for a rec league. Like, I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry, man. If I'm slow, I'm slow. You just got to deal with it. When they say that, though, Ben is pissed and is like, fine, you guys run the practice then. I bet you it'll be a train wreck. Like, I'm over trying to carry this team. You guys do whatever you want to do. And happens that one of the dudes who was on their team was like a varsity starter in high school, which, you know, I understand that like a high school basketball isn't the highest level in the world, but he obviously had enough experience to like kind of guide this practice with everybody who also had played basketball before. So he kind of starts saying that they're going to work on a few drills to work on passing and shooting just to see how good everyone is and get everybody a little bit accustomed to like how people shot, how people passed, who was good, who was not, all that stuff. So they just kind of start doing a few of those, and everyone's pretty solid at basketball, actually. Don't get it twisted. This isn't like Space Jam. They're not incredible, you know? They didn't steal the powers of Charles Barkley. But everyone's like field goal percentage is pretty solid. It's not like anyone is whiffing every shot except for one player on the team, and that's Ben. You know, you would think with the ego Ben has and talking about how like all he cares about is basketball and winning's all that matters, you know, always staying ready for a pickup game, that he would be really, really good. You think he would basically be a basketball god, but the dude really sucked. Like, for example, they were doing this thing for a little bit where they were basically alley-ooping to each other, and if you couldn't dunk, then like you were just supposed to do a layup, right? And Ben could not make a layup to save his life. And no one was making fun of him about it, but everybody was kind of thinking like, oh, okay, so this guy's ego is up here and his skill level is down there. So, yeah, we're definitely just gonna try to avoid giving him the ball, because he thinks that he's Michael Jordan, and in reality, he's like Will Ferrell from the movie. Like I said earlier, dude, I'm gonna throw a picture of him on screen so you guys can just see what I'm imagining in my head. From the way the dude was described to me, this is kind of what he had going on, you know, the headband, the wristbands, talking a lot of smack, but just not very good at the game, which is always interesting to see the ego's skill gap. Anyways, halfway through practice, the guy who's kind of running it decides that they should probably do a little bit of a 4v4 game, because they had 8 players, just to kind of like see how everyone was and get a little bit of practice in, so that way it wasn't like everyone was super rusty before the game, and everyone's like, all right, fine. So on top of just not being very good at all, Ben also was a ginormous ball hog. Like, you literally would have thought the man had an allergic reaction anytime someone said he should pass the ball. If he got the ball, then he was taking it all the way to the hoop and probably missing. Like, it didn't matter if he was getting triple teamed. Nope, didn't matter. He was somehow going to find a way to score. The only problem is he he was not very good at the whole scoring thing, so it was more just like he was embarrassing himself. And he literally was so bad at ball hogging that his team in this 4v4 just started refusing to give him the ball anymore because it just was working so badly, and it kind of turned into a 4v3. And what's really embarrassing is that they ended up doing better, scoring more, and like having not a comeback obviously because it was still a 4v3, but having way more of a balanced score at the end of the day than they were by giving him the ball. And at the end of practice after the scrimmage, Ben is obviously pissed, and they know that he's pissed because he doesn't do his best to hide it at all. He's like, guys, what is going on? I'm out here trying to make plays and you're not giving me the ball. Like, what's happening? And one of the people that had been on his team tells him, listen, bro, you're literally shooting 0%. You're not passing the ball to anyone. You're like purposely going into triple teams and still trying to score. So we're just not going to give you the ball. There's no reason to give it to you if you can't score, which sure is mean. But at the same time, man, like, what did you expect the rest of your team to do when you're just ball hogging and you suck? I don't think anyone would be super hyped with that situation. And especially if they do better not giving you the ball, they're just going to not give you the ball. And shooting 0% is embarrassing, bro. Like, listen, I suck at basketball. I'm not saying I'm good at all. That being said, I feel like, I could shoot 5%. I feel like anyone could, dude. My grandma could probably shoot 5%. How do you take 15 shots and like miss all of them if you have any experience whatsoever? And especially if you've been playing that bad, I'm shocked that you have the nerve to like talk trash to your teammates, If you know that you've literally missed every shot you take after the scrimmage, I would be more embarrassed that I was taking all those shots rather than like calling them out. I'm out here trying to make plays. Yeah, you're also trying to score, but it doesn't seem to be working out for you, bro. Anyways, after the trash talking starts, Ben launches into a rant about how like if they lose the game Friday, he's gonna be pissed and it's all their fault if they don't give him the ball and allow him to make plays. And the rest of his teammates are standing around wondering why this guy's acting like Zac Efron in High School Musical. Gotta get your head in the game, just treating it like a soap opera. If we lose Friday, I'm gonna be pissed. You don't understand what'll happen. What, bro? Did you like bet your dad's life with the mob or something? Like, what is really that serious about this recreational basketball game? It doesn't actually matter. Anyways, like I said, he's going full High School Musical, and after that, everybody's like, all right, man, well, we're gonna win Friday, don't worry about it, and then they go home. And the subscriber is just insanely confused by Ben, like, if you want to take sports seriously, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, if you really want to take it seriously, that's your prerogative. That being said, you should probably join a little bit more of a serious league than, like, the recreational college team, where they don't allow you to be on teams with a bunch of people because they don't want people to try very hard. Like, you know what I mean? There's a reason that they're randomly assigning the teams. It's because they don't want people to be sweating that hard. They want it to be more about fun. Maybe you just should have picked a different league. Anyways, the day before the game, Ben sends a text to the group message that has everybody in it, and he says that he thinks there might be scouts there because they might be looking for talent right in their own backyard, so everybody play on their best, because you never know if you're going to be picked up by a scout, and it's possible that there could be like NBA scouts there. And obviously everybody is just rolling their eyes, wondering on what planet he's on to think that there's going to be college or NBA scouts at this game. I haven't heard of the rec league to NBA pipeline. I've never heard of anyone doing that. Maybe Ben will be the first. I doubt it with his skills, but it just seems weird to just assume that scouts are going to be at this game for no reason. Like, they're just not going to be. Regardless, everyone kind of ignores his text in the group chat, but the next day the game comes, everybody shows up, and everyone's got, their uniforms on. And just to give you guys an idea of how casual this league really is, the uniforms in question are just like the same colored t-shirt. They all were wearing a green t-shirt. They didn't have jerseys, it was just like, all right, guys, throw on some t-shirts so that way you can tell each other apart and we're good to go. They didn't want people taking it too seriously. Like, obviously it was more of just, we're gonna play a little pickup game of basketball. And Ben had wanted to get custom jerseys made, and everybody was like no, because he said they were going to be $90 a piece, which I don't know where he got that price from, but yeah, I'm not paying for a $90 jersey. I can get a real jersey for that much. Anyways, you would have just thought that Ben was actually at an NBA game. From the second that he walked into the gym, he was like screaming about how it was game time, and this is when men turn into immortals. But he wasn't being like sarcastic, I guess is the right word. Satirical, whatever. Like he wasn't saying, all right, guys, this is where men turn into immortals at our rec league basketball game, and then waiting for the laugh. He was being serious. He's like, this is where boys turn to men. It's just a pickup game of basketball, basically, bro. Don't think anyone is turning immortal. Even if you drop 90 points this game, I don't think anyone's gonna talk about it except you. The other team itself looked pretty normal. The only player that was like really standing out from the other team though was this guy who must have been like 6'10", 6'11", just an absolute giant of a man, which, you know, when you're playing basketball isn't the most like calming thing to see on the other team, but it is supposed to be a pretty casual game, so they're assuming he won't really try too hard. It should just be like a fun time, and even if he is way better than them, like what are they gonna do about it? Well, everybody has that attitude except for Ben, who starts talking trash to him for some reason, saying that, like, you know, he's gonna own him and don't worry about the coverage on that guy because Ben's gonna have it covered. And listen, man, I'm not saying height is like purely everything in basketball. I'm not saying it's the only thing that matters, but if this dude's 6'10", 6'11", then you would think to talk trash about how you're gonna cover him or own him, you'd be like, what, at least 6'7", maybe? Even then, that's gonna be not a super fun time. Ben is like 5'9", you know, I'm not saying there's no way he's gonna be able to cover this dude, but he's gonna have himself a very, very hard time trying to hold it together, covering someone like over a foot taller than him, especially when you're trash talking him before the game starts and pissing him off. And Ben continues to trash talk him to the point where the 6'11" guy is like, dude, can you please relax? Like, it's just not that serious. There's no reason to be going this hard. And Ben says that it is serious to him, and don't worry, he's gonna back it up. He's gonna own him all game. And the 6'11" guy is like, all right, dude, whatever, but clearly is annoyed with the fact that this dude is being so angry already. And finally, the game goes to start, and off tip-off, it just happens that there's a pretty weird bounce, and the ball ends up in Ben's hands. And Ben is obviously a ball hog, so he's not going to pass it to anyone. He just starts driving down the court, thinking that he's in the clear. But now the 6'11" guy has basically made it his mission to make Ben have a bad game and embarrass him as much as possible. So Ben's flying down the court, going for what should be a really easy layup. He should have no problem doing this. But as he goes up for the layup, the 6'11" guy sprints in out of nowhere and just drops a hammer down on him and smacks the ever-living crap out of the ball. It was all ball contact, but you know, it was still in Ben's hands, so it affects his trajectory, like, because he's in the air. And it kind of sends Ben almost sideways in the air, looking like a Looney Tune, and he slams down onto the ground, and it's so funny looking that everybody laughs. And they weren't laughing to try to be mean, it's just like, honestly, he got the ball smacked, goes sideways in the air, looking like something straight out of a Looney Tune cartoon, and then smacked onto the floor with the wrath of a failed rocket launch, just like boom. And so he gets up all pissed off and shoves the giant of a man and is like, dude, what the heck, that was uncalled for, like now we're gonna throw hands. And that's obviously a bad idea. Because, like, listen, okay, it is already a basketball game. Fighting over it's probably not the greatest move. I understand it was an over-the-top block, so you might be pissed. The guy still is, like, 6'10", 6'11", and you're still 5'9", so I don't think that's gonna go down well for you at all. This dude has the reach to be able to punch you from one county away, you know? Like, let's just be honest here. This dude's arms are probably the length of a fence post. He's got a 2x4 to reach out and hit you with, and you got to get in close. It's just not going to end well for you. On top of it, you had been talking all the trash about how you were going to own him, so obviously if he has the chance to block you, he's 100% going to take it. And everyone's watching this go down, and you have to keep in mind that Ben has only known his teammates for maybe a week at that point. On top of it, he had been bossing them around, saying that they suck. Like, just overall had already been a giant nuisance talking trash. And so when Ben yells out, oh, guys, come back me up, nobody goes in to back him up because they're not going to help some random dude basically in a fight that he started himself. But that doesn't stop Ben from continuing to yell out that they should come back him up and he needs backup. One of his teammates yells back though and is like, look, you're on your own. I'm not backing you up. And he yelled back about how they were bad teammates for not helping them. But I don't really know what Ben expected them to do, bro. Go on like basically a self-game end mission to fight a giant because you were talking trash and then shoved him and said you wanted to fight him. Not even like this giant dude went out of his way to fight with you. He just blocked the shot. He didn't shove you and say, now fight me, tiny man. Like that just was not what happened. And I don't think your teammates that have known you for a week just owe it to you to fight some random dude that's gonna beat all of you up. But now Ben is pissed off but also afraid of the giant, so he's running away from this dude. And I mean literally sprinting around the gym, and the giant's just following him. And the giant guy is just laughing at Ben, who's running around yelling, being like, help me, you should fight him for me. You guys are being bad teammates. We have a bond as teammates that you have to back me up in any situation. And everybody's watching this and they're like, all right, if that's the case, then I guess I'm all right with being a bad teammate to you, bro, because I'm not getting involved. And so Ben realizes that no one's going to back him up. He's going to either have to fight the giant or leave. So he picks option B and starts running towards the door. And at this point, the giant is still behind him, running after him, laughing because it's just so embarrassing. And the giant's not really trying to catch up. Like, it's obvious he could have. He was a lot faster than Ben, so he's just kind of keeping his distance enough to freak him out, but that's about it. And he starts to flee the gym, like on his way out of the gym like a wild Pokemon. But before he leaves the gym, he yells back that, you know, he hates them and he's quitting the team because they're not committed enough and apparently don't have their teammates back. So he has no obligation to be on a team with people that aren't gonna have his back. And he leaves and they're like, all right, well, I guess he's off our team, but oh well, no one's really that upset about it, you know, it will go on. If anything, they were a little bit excited. They're like, at least it'll stop being so dramatic and we can just have fun. At that point though, the other team is like, do you guys really know that dude? Like, are you friends with him? And they're like, no, it's randomly assigned. We don't really know him. He's been a big pain in practices. We're sorry about that. We didn't know he was gonna try to like fight you, and that's why we didn't back him up. We don't really know the guy. And the other team was just as confused as they were, because you just never expect someone to start throwing hands over getting blocked in a basketball game, especially like the way it all went down. So they ended up finishing the game. They did lose. The guy who's 6'11", believe it or not, was pretty good at basketball. Who could have seen that coming? But either way, after that, the season was a lot more enjoyable because Ben never had the nerve to show his face at practice or the games again, probably for the better. But yeah, anyways, I thought you guys would enjoy that. Hopefully you did. If you did, you should press the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Helps the video do better, so like, please go press it. And if you've made it this far, you might as well go down there and comment basketball down below. Helps the video hit recommended. I'd really appreciate it. And if you don't comment basketball, no joke, no scam, you will be cursed by a witch, so just go comment it. And yeah, other than that, guys, if you really want to help me out, I do post an audio version of the story times on Spotify. Link down below in the description. Feel free to check that out. And I also made a playlist of some of my favorite videos from this year, so if you're ever doing homework or anything and need something to watch, check that out. That's also down below in the description. And last but not least, subscribe and turn on those notifications for me. And on that note, I will see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.